The space above Earth turned dark as massive ships appeared from nowhere. Admiral Krelthak stood on the bridge of his flagship and smiled. His sharp teeth gleamed as he looked at the blue planet below. 500 warships surrounded Earth like hungry wolves around a wounded deer. Each ship was bigger than any human city, armed with weapons that could destroy mountains. "How long will this take?" asked his second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vextar. The younger alien was eager to prove himself in battle. 6 hours at most, Krelthax replied with confidence. "These humans are primitive. They barely have space travel. Our intelligence reports show they still use chemical rockets and nuclear weapons. They cannot possibly resist the might of the Zephyrian Empire." The Admiral had conquered 12 worlds in his career. Every time was the same story. The primitive species would panic, try to fight with their simple weapons, then surrender when they realized how hopeless their situation was. Some lasted days, others only hours, but they all fell in the end. On Earth, Captain Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee at the United Earth Defense Command Center when the alarms started screaming. Red lights flashed everywhere as officers ran to their stations. Jake dropped his cup and rushed to the main screen. "What are we looking at?" he asked his communications officer, Lieutenant Amy Chen. "Sir, we have 500 large objects in orbit. They just appeared out of nowhere." "No warning, no sensor readings before they arrived," Amy replied, her voice shaking slightly. The main screen showed the alien fleet in perfect formation. Each ship was dark metal with strange glowing lines running along its hull. They looked like nothing humans had ever built. They were clearly not from Earth. "Get me President Carter on the line immediately," Jake ordered. "And wake up everyone in the Defense Council. Tell them this is not a drill." Within minutes, the communication systems came alive. President Lisa Carter appeared on screen from the White House Situation Room. Her usually calm face showed worry, but she kept her voice steady. "Captain Morrison, what's our status?" she asked. "Madam President, we have a large alien fleet in Earth orbit. 500 ships, each approximately 2 kilometers long. They've made no communication attempts yet, but their positioning suggests hostile intent." As if on cue, a new signal came through. The main screen flickered and showed Admiral Krelthax. His lizard-like face filled the screen, yellow eyes staring directly at the camera. "Primitive humans of Earth." His voice was deep and threatening. "I am Admiral Krelthax of the Zephyrian Empire. Your world has been selected for integration into our empire. You have one choice. Surrender completely and accept slave status or be destroyed. You have 30 minutes to respond." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in silence. Jake looked around at his staff. Some looked scared, others angry. All waited for orders. President Carter's voice came through clearly. "Captain, I'm convening an emergency session with General Pete Sullivan and Admiral Kate Brooks. We need options, and we need them fast." At the Pentagon, General Pete Sullivan was already moving. The gray-haired veteran had been preparing for this day longer than anyone knew. He picked up a red phone that connected directly to several secret military installations around the world. "This is Sullivan. Authorization code Alpha 77. Activate all defensive protocols immediately." "This is not a drill." "Repeat, this is not a drill." Across the globe, hidden facilities came to life. In underground bunkers, officers who had trained for years for this exact moment began powering up systems that officially did not exist. On the dark side of the moon, automated systems started charging weapons that had been built in secret over the past decade. Admiral Kate Brooks was at the Naval Space Command when the alert came through. She had been expecting this call for 20 years, ever since that strange object crashed in the Arctic, the object that changed everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe. "All stations, this is Admiral Brooks," she announced over the secure channel. "Operation Deep Strike is now active. All units report readiness status immediately." Back in space, Admiral Krelthax was reviewing the tactical data about Earth. His computers showed a species that had only recently achieved spaceflight. Their most advanced weapons were crude nuclear devices. Their ships were slow and primitive. This would be easier than his last 3 conquests. "Admiral," Vextar reported, "our sensors detect unusual energy readings from the planet's surface and orbital space. The signatures are not consistent with their known technology." Krelthax waved a clawed hand dismissively. "Probably their nuclear power plants going into emergency mode. Fear makes primitive species do strange things. Continue monitoring, but do not let it concern you." What the Admiral did not know was that 20 years ago, a small Zephyrian scout ship had crashed on Earth. The ship was damaged, but its technology was intact. Human scientists had spent 2 decades reverse engineering every piece of alien technology they could find. They learned about energy shields, plasma weapons faster than light travel, and most importantly, they learned they were not alone in the universe. Dr. Elena Martinez had been part of the team that studied the crashed ship. Now she stood in a secret facility buried deep under Colorado, watching as her life's work prepared to be tested in real combat. "All systems are online," she reported to General Sullivan. "Project Looking Glass is ready for activation. We have full quantum entanglement communication with all military assets in the solar system." "How many assets are we talking about, Doctor?" Sullivan asked. 73 ships currently hidden in the asteroid belt, 42 weapon platforms on the lunar surface, 18 orbital defense stations around Earth, and the Mars production facility with an additional 30 ships. Sullivan smiled grimly. "The aliens think they're hunting sheep. They're about to learn they walked into a wolf pack." Back on the Zephyrian flagship, the 30-minute deadline was approaching. Admiral Krelthax had received no response from the humans. This was normal. Most species needed time to accept their fate. "Sir," the communications officer announced, "we're receiving a transmission from the planet." President Carter appeared on the main screen. She looked directly at Admiral Krelthax with no fear in her eyes. "Admiral, we have considered your offer," she said calmly. "Our response is simple: go home. This is your only warning." The bridge of the alien ship erupted in laughter. Even Krelthax chuckled at the human's foolish bravery. "You amuse me, human leader. But amusement time is over. Prepare to witness the power of the Zephyrian Empire." The president's image smiled slightly. "Admiral, you're about to learn something important about humans. We don't like bullies, and we've been preparing for you longer than you think." The transmission ended. Admiral Krelthax turned to his weapons officer. "Begin the attack. Target their major population centers. Make it quick and decisive. I want this over before lunch." As the alien weapons powered up, Captain Jake Morrison received a priority message on his secure terminal. It was only 3 words, but they changed everything. "Gloves are off." He picked up his communication device and sent out a message that had been prepared 20 years ago. "All stations, all units. This is Morrison. Authorization Thunderstrike Alpha. The hunt begins now. Around Earth, in space, and across the solar system, humanity's true military might begin to wake up. The aliens had made one critical mistake. They assumed humans would fight like every other species they had conquered. They were about to learn that humans fight differently than anyone else in the galaxy. The alien fleet moved into attack formation like a school of deadly fish. Each massive ship found its target on Earth's surface. Major cities, military bases, and communication centers were all marked for destruction. Admiral Krelthax watched the tactical display with satisfaction. "This would be over quickly. All ships report ready to fire," announced the weapons officer. "Plasma cannons charged to full power." "Excellent," Krelthax replied. "Begin bombardment in 60 seconds. Target the largest population centers first. Fear spreads faster when civilians die." But something was wrong. The Admiral's tactical officer, a nervous young Zephyrian named Tekvor, was staring at his sensors with confusion. "Sir, I'm detecting massive energy buildups across the planet's surface. The readings are off the scale." "Explain," Krelthax demanded. "The energy signatures are similar to our own shield generators, but the power levels are much higher. How is this possible from such a primitive species?" Before the Admiral could answer, space around Earth began to shimmer. Invisible barriers became visible as they powered up, creating a glowing web of energy that surrounded the entire planet. On Earth, Commander Alex Turner sat in the NORAD command center, watching displays that showed information the public had never seen. Hidden satellites, secret weapon platforms, and shield generators that had been built using alien technology were all coming online. "All defensive systems active," reported his second-in-command, Major Kelly Roberts. "Shield network at full power. All stealth platforms are in position," Alex nodded. 20 years of preparation were about to be tested. When that alien scout ship crashed in the Arctic, it changed everything. The crashed ship's computer had contained detailed information about galactic civilization, alien technology, and most importantly, the location of every major alien empire. Humanity learned they were surrounded by predators, dozens of species that conquered primitive worlds and enslaved their populations. Earth was on a target list, scheduled for invasion within 30 years. The crashed ship's data gave humanity one advantage. Time to prepare. Sir, Major Roberts continued, we're getting reports from all stations. Luna Base is ready. Mars Command confirms all ships are in position, and the asteroid belt platforms are fully operational. Lieutenant Colonel Maya Rodriguez was on the moon, commanding Luna Base. The facility was built inside an old mining complex, hidden from alien sensors by careful engineering and captured stealth technology. 42 weapon platforms surrounded the base, each armed with railguns that could fire tungsten rods at incredible speeds. All lunar platforms report ready, she announced to her team. Target acquisition confirmed on alien fleet. We have firing solutions for all 500 enemy ships. Maya had volunteered for moon duty 5 years ago. She knew that if war came, Luna Base would be humanity's first line of defense. The low gravity allowed for massive weapon systems that would be impossible to build on Earth. Back in space, Admiral Krelthax was becoming concerned. The energy readings from Earth were unlike anything his fleet had encountered before. The planet should not have been capable of generating such powerful defensive systems. Subcommander Vexitar, run a deep scan of the human military capabilities. I want to know what we're dealing with. The scan results appeared on the main display. Vexitar stared at the data in disbelief. Sir, the humans have orbital defense platforms hidden throughout their solar system. I count over 200 installations. And they have ships, Admiral. Lots of ships. Impossible, Krelthax snarled. Our intelligence reports show they barely have interplanetary travel. The scans don't lie, sir. They have a significant military presence in their asteroid belt, multiple bases on their moon, and what appears to be a major facility on their 4th planet. On Mars, Colonel Steve Parker was preparing his squadron for battle. The Mars Defense Station had been humanity's most ambitious secret project. Built using alien manufacturing techniques learned from the crashed ship, the facility could produce advanced warships at an incredible rate. All ships report ready for launch, announced his flight controller, Captain Amy Johnson. 30 fighters armed and fueled. Stealth systems online. Steve looked out at the hangar bay where sleek fighters waited in the shadows. Each ship was built using a combination of human engineering and alien technology. They were faster than anything the Zephyrians had ever seen, nearly invisible to sensors and armed with weapons that violated several galactic warfare treaties. Launch when ready, Captain. Time to introduce our visitors to human hospitality. Dr. Elena Martinez was in her command center deep underground, coordinating the defense through the quantum communication network. Every human military unit in the solar system was connected through instantaneous communication, allowing for perfect coordination across billions of miles. All stations, this is command, she broadcast. Enemy fleet is moving into final attack position. All units prepare for engagement. Remember, we trained for this day for 20 years. Show them what humanity can do. The response came back from dozens of facilities. Luna Base was ready. Mars Command was ready. The asteroid belt platforms were ready. Earth's orbital defenses were ready. And hidden throughout the solar system, over 200 human ships waited in the shadows. Admiral Krelthax decided to proceed with the attack despite the unusual readings. His ships were powerful, his crew experienced. Whatever tricks the humans had learned, they could not possibly stand against the might of the Zephyrian Empire. All ships, begin bombardment. Show these primitives the price of defiance. 500 alien ships opened fire simultaneously. Bright beams of plasma energy streaked toward Earth's surface, carrying enough power to level entire cities. The attack was perfectly coordinated, designed to break human resistance in a single devastating blow. But the plasma beams never reached the surface. They struck the shield network and dispersed harmlessly into space. The energy barriers held firm, powered by fusion reactors that used alien technology to generate massive amounts of power. Impossible, Krelthax roared. Increase power to maximum. Overload the generators if necessary. The second barrage was twice as powerful as the first. Energy that could have destroyed mountains hammered against Earth's defenses. But the shields held. They flickered and sparked under the assault, but they did not fail. On the lunar surface, Maya Rodriguez received the order she had been waiting for. Luna Base, you are cleared to engage. Light them up. 42 railgun platforms opened fire in perfect synchronization. Tungsten rods accelerated to enormous speeds, invisible to alien sensors until they were too close to stop. The first rod struck the Zephyrian flagship's shields with the force of a nuclear weapon. The shields held, but barely. Alarms screamed across the alien bridge as damage reports poured in. "Sir, we're under attack," Vextar shouted. "The weapons are coming from their moon. Kinetic projectiles at near light speed." Krelthak stared at the tactical display in shock. The humans were not cowering in fear. They were fighting back with weapons that should not exist, and their shields were holding against the full power of his fleet. "How is this possible?" he whispered. His question was answered when 18 stealth ships suddenly appeared around his fleet. They had been invisible, hiding in the darkness of space using technology the Admiral recognized but had never seen used so effectively. Captain Amy Johnson led the first wave of fighters from Mars Command. Her squadron had traveled through space for 3 days to reach this position, using captured alien faster-than-light drives to arrive undetected. "All fighters, target the command ships. Take out their leaders first." The human fighters moved like wolves attacking a herd. They were smaller than the alien ships but infinitely faster and more maneuverable. Their weapons were designed specifically to exploit weaknesses in Zephyrian technology that had been discovered through careful study of the crashed scout ship. Admiral Krelthax watched, in horror as his carefully planned invasion turned into a nightmare. The humans were not primitive. They were prepared. They had been waiting for this attack and had turned their entire solar system into a trap. "All ships, defensive positions," he ordered. "Concentrate fire on the human ships. We need to break their coordination," but it was too late. The humans had seized the initiative and they were not giving it back. What was supposed to be a 6-hour conquest was about to become something much worse for the Zephyrian Empire. At exactly 14:23 Greenwich Mean Time, the real battle began. Admiral Krelthax had expected easy victory against primitive humans. Instead, he found himself fighting the most advanced military force he had ever encountered. The first Zephyrian dreadnought exploded in a brilliant flash of light. A tungsten rod from Luna Base had punched through its shields and hull like a bullet through paper. The massive ship broke apart, sending debris spinning into space. "Report," Krelthax shouted over the alarms filling his bridge. "The humans are using kinetic weapons fired from their moon." Subcommander Vexitar replied, his voice shaking. "The projectiles are moving at near light speed. Our shields cannot stop them." Major Danny Foster watched from Luna Base as his weapons found their targets. He had trained for this moment for 5 years, studying alien ship designs and looking for weaknesses. The tungsten rods were simple but effective. No energy shields in the galaxy could stop a solid object moving at such incredible speed. "Target acquired," announced his weapons officer, Sergeant Lisa Park. "Firing solution locked on Dreadnought 77 Alpha." "Fire," Danny ordered. Another alien ship died as the tungsten rod tore through its hull. The Zephyrians had built their ships to fight energy weapons and plasma cannons. They were not prepared for simple physics used as a weapon. In space around Earth, the human stealth ships began their attack. Captain Amy Johnson led her squadron of Mars fighters in a coordinated strike against the alien command vessels. Her ships moved like ghosts, appearing and disappearing from alien sensors. "Phoenix Squadron, target the ship with the fancy decorations," she ordered. "That's got to be their flagship." Amy's fighter was a work of art that combined human engineering with alien technology. It was fast, nearly invisible, and armed with weapons that used alien plasma technology improved by human innovation. The improvements made the weapons twice as powerful as the original alien designs. Admiral Krelthax watched his tactical display with growing horror. Red symbols showed damaged or destroyed ships across his fleet. The humans were not fighting like any species he had encountered. Most civilizations tried to match firepower with firepower. Humans used tricks, speed, and weapons that caught his forces completely off guard. "Sir, we're detecting massive energy buildup from the human asteroid belt," reported the sensor officer. "Multiple contacts approaching at high speed." Colonel Steve Parker led the asteroid belt squadron toward Earth. 73 ships had been hiding among the rocks for months, waiting for this moment. Each ship was built in secret facilities that officially did not exist, using technology that humanity was not supposed to have. "All ships, attack formation Beta," Steve ordered. "Target their heavy cruisers. Leave the flagship for last. We want their admiral to watch his fleet die." The human ships were smaller than the alien vessels but much faster. They moved like a pack of wolves. coordinating their attacks through the quantum communication system. Every ship knew exactly what every other ship was doing, creating perfect tactical coordination across the battlefield. Dr. Elena Martinez monitored the battle from her underground command center. 20 years of preparation were paying off. The aliens had expected to fight primitives armed with nuclear weapons. Instead, they faced a military force that had been specifically designed to counter their technology. "All stations report," she ordered. "Luna base. All platforms operational. Enemy losses at 15% and rising," reported Major Foster. "Mars Command, squadron deployment successful. No human losses," announced Colonel Parker. "Earth Defense Shield Network holding at 93% efficiency," confirmed Commander Turner. Elena smiled grimly. The plan was working perfectly. The aliens had walked into a trap that had taken 2 decades to prepare. On the Zephyrian flagship, panic was setting in. Admiral Krelthax had lost over 50 ships in the first 3 minutes of combat. His fleet was being systematically destroyed by an enemy that should not have existed. "Options," he demanded from his tactical staff. "Sir, we could retreat," suggested Vextar. "Reform and attack with better intelligence." "Retreat is not an option," Krelthax snarled. "The Empire does not retreat from primitives." "What about the planet killer weapon?" "Charging now, sir, but it will take several minutes to reach full power." The planet killer was the Zephyrian Empire's ultimate weapon, a massive plasma cannon that could burn away a planet's atmosphere and turn the surface into molten glass. It had been used 12 times in the Empire's history, always as a final solution against stubborn resistance. But the humans had been listening to alien communications through equipment salvaged from the crashed scout ship. They knew about the planet killer weapon, and they had prepared a response. Captain Mike Turner commanded the Deep Space Monitoring Station, a facility built inside a hollowed-out asteroid. His job was to watch for exactly this kind of threat. When his sensors detected the massive energy buildup on the alien flagship, he immediately sent targeting data to Luna Base. "Priority target Luna Base," he transmitted. "Flagship is charging a planet killer weapon. Coordinates transmitted. Stop that thing before it fires." Maya Rodriguez received the message and quickly reassigned her entire weapon platform to target the flagship. 42 railguns swiveled to aim at Admiral Krelthax's ship. "All platforms target the flagship," she ordered. "Maximum rate of fire. Turn that ship into scrap metal." Tungsten rods began hammering the alien flagship like rain. The ship's shields flared and sparked under the assault. One rod punched through the shield generator. Another destroyed the main plasma cannon. The planet killer weapon exploded before it could fire, taking half the ship's hull with it. Admiral Krelthax was thrown to the deck as his ship shuddered under the impact. Emergency lights flickered as damage reports flooded in. "Sir, the planet killer is destroyed," reported the weapons officer. "Main engines are offline. We've lost 40% of our firepower." Around the flagship, the battle continued to rage. Human fighters darted between the massive alien ships like angry wasps, striking vital systems and disappearing before the Zephyrians could respond. The larger human warships used their speed advantage to stay out of range of alien weapons while their own guns tore holes in enemy. Hull's Lieutenant Emma Davis led a squadron of fighters in a daring attack on the alien supply ships. The Zephyrians had brought fuel and ammunition vessels to support their invasion, thinking the battle would last long enough to require resupply. Emma's job was to make sure those supplies never reached the fighting ships. "Target the big ugly one in the middle," she ordered her squadron. "1 missile each, then get out fast." The human missiles were another example of alien technology improved by human engineering. They moved faster than Zephyrian point defense systems could track and carried warheads that used the aliens' own plasma technology against them. The supply ship exploded in a chain reaction that destroyed 2 nearby cruisers and damaged 3 more. The explosion was so large that it could be seen from Earth's surface, a bright star that flared and died in the darkness of space. By the 4th minute of combat, Admiral Krelthax realized his invasion had become a disaster. He had lost over 100 ships and had not destroyed a single human vessel. His crews were panicking, his formation was broken, and the humans showed no sign of slowing down. "All ships, emergency retreat protocol," he ordered. "Jump to hyperspace immediately." But when his fleet tried to activate their faster-than-light drives, nothing happened. The engines powered up, the drives engaged, but the ships remained exactly where they were. "Sir, we cannot jump to hyperspace," reported the navigation officer. Something is preventing us from leaving this system. Dr. Martinez smiled as she watched the alien fleet's failed escape attempt. The gravity well generators had been her idea, based on technology found in the crashed scout ship. Massive devices hidden throughout the solar system created gravitational fields that prevented faster-than-light travel. The aliens were trapped. They could not retreat, they could not call for help, and they were losing ships every few seconds. Admiral Krelthax had led his fleet into a perfectly planned ambush, and now he was going to pay the price for underestimating humanity. The 6-minute war was already half over, and the Zephyrian Empire was losing badly. The Zephyrian fleet was learning a terrible lesson about human warfare. Every species the aliens had conquered fought the same way: big ships, powerful energy weapons, and direct confrontation. Humans fought like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Sergeant First Class Tony Rivera and his special operations team had been waiting in their stealth transport for this exact moment. While the space battle raged around them, their small ship moved silently toward the alien flagship using technology that made them invisible to enemy sensors. "Remember the plan?" Tony told his team over their communication system. "We get in, we take the bridge, we capture their admiral alive. Intel says these lizard guys panic when their leaders are taken." His team consisted of 12 specially trained soldiers, each equipped with weapons and armor that combined human military experience with alien technology. They had trained for 2 years specifically for this mission. Boarding an enemy command ship in the middle of a battle, the stealth transport attached itself to the hull of the Zephyrian flagship like a parasite. Cutting tools that used alien plasma technology burned through the thick armor plating in seconds. Within minutes, Tony's team was inside the enemy ship. Admiral Krelthax was focused on the space battle when his security officer shouted a warning. "Sir, we have intruders on Deck 7. Human soldiers armed and moving toward the bridge." "Impossible," Krelthax replied. "How did they get aboard?" "Our shields are still active." "Unknown, sir. They appeared inside our hull. No record of any boarding craft or teleportation signatures." What the Admiral did not know was that human scientists had solved the problem of matter transportation 5 years ago. The technology was based on alien designs but improved to work faster and more quietly than the original. Tony's team had simply materialized inside the enemy ship. Captain Lisa Ward commanded a squadron of stealth corvettes that were systematically hunting the alien command ships. Her vessels were painted black, equipped with sound dampeners, and used energy-absorbing hull materials that made them nearly impossible to detect. "Target acquired," announced her tactical officer, Lieutenant Paul Martinez. "Alien command cruiser bearing 27 Mark IV. She's trying to coordinate their defense." "Good hunting," Lisa replied. "All ships attack pattern Delta. Hit them fast and disappear before they know what happened." The human corvettes struck like ghosts. Their weapons fired concentrated bursts of plasma energy that had been modified to burn through alien armor more effectively than the original designs. The enemy command cruiser exploded before it could send a warning to the rest of the fleet. General Pete Sullivan watched the battle from his command center deep inside NORAD. Every display showed the same thing: complete human dominance. The aliens were being systematically destroyed by forces they could not see, using weapons they did not understand, coordinated through communications they could not intercept. "How many ships have we lost?" he asked his aide, Colonel Janet Foster. "0 confirmed losses, sir. Minor damage to 3 fighters and 1 corvette. The enemy has lost 137 ships confirmed destroyed, with 42 more showing major damage." Pete nodded with satisfaction. 20 years of preparation were paying off perfectly. The aliens had expected to fight humans who barely understood space travel. Instead, they faced a military force specifically designed to counter their exact technology and tactics. Admiral Krelthax was beginning to understand the scope of his mistake. The humans had not just prepared defenses against his invasion. They had studied his empire's technology and fighting methods, then built an entire military force designed to exploit every weakness they could find. "Sir, we're receiving reports from across the fleet," Sub-Commander Vextar announced, his voice filled with fear. "The humans are using our own technology against us, but it's been improved somehow. Their plasma weapons are more powerful than ours. Their shields are stronger. Their ships are faster. How is this possible?" Krelthax demanded. "They are primitives. They should not even know about plasma technology. The answer to his question was fighting its way toward his bridge. Tony Rivera's team had encountered alien security forces and was systematically eliminating them using tactics that confused and terrified the Zephyrian soldiers. Humans fought differently than any species in the galaxy. Where aliens relied on superior technology and firepower, humans used speed, surprise, and adaptability. They moved through the ship like shadows, striking from unexpected directions and disappearing before the enemy could respond. "Contact front," reported Corporal Andy Bailey, Tony's point man. 6 hostiles, armed with energy weapons, smoke and mirrors, Tony ordered. The human soldiers deployed a combination of smoke grenades and holographic projectors that created multiple false targets. The alien soldiers fired at images while the real humans moved around their flanks. The engagement was over in seconds, with all 6 aliens down and no human casualties. Captain Sarah Williams was having the time of her life. Her experimental fighter, callsign Raptor, was designed to test the limits of human engineering combined with alien technology. She had already destroyed 8 enemy ships and was looking for more targets. "This is Raptor," she announced over the squadron frequency. "I have 5 heavy cruisers trying to form a defensive line. Permission to break up their party?" "Granted, Raptor," came the reply from Squadron Command. "Show them what American engineering can do." Sarah's fighter moved like a missile with a brain. She used the gravitational fields of nearby planets to change direction at impossible angles, confusing the alien gunners who could not predict her movements. Her weapons were charged with energy drawn from the ship's experimental reactor, giving her firepower that no fighter should have been able to carry. The 5 alien cruisers opened fire with everything they had. Energy beams filled space around Sarah's position, but she was no longer there. Her fighter danced between the shots like a leaf in the wind, moving closer with each impossible maneuver. When she fired back, her weapons struck with surgical precision. Each shot was aimed at specific weak points that human intelligence had identified through careful study of captured alien technology. Shield generators exploded, weapons were destroyed, and engine compartments vented atmosphere into space. Dr. Elena Martinez was coordinating the entire battle through her quantum communication network. Every human unit in the solar system was connected through instantaneous communication, allowing for coordination that the aliens could not match or interfere with. "Luna Base, shift fire to Sector 7, she ordered. "Mars Squadron, support the Corvette attack on their rear guard. Asteroid platforms, prepare for Phase 2. The aliens were learning that humans did not just fight differently. They thought differently. Where Zephyrian tactics relied on overwhelming force and direct assault, human strategy was built around speed, flexibility, and constant adaptation to changing conditions. Major Chris Bailey commanded a squadron of ships equipped with the most experimental weapons in the human arsenal. Swarms of nanobots that could eat through alien hull armor, gravity bombs that could crush a ship without leaving visible damage, plasma torpedoes that burned hotter than the core of a star. "Deploy the nanobots," he ordered his weapons officer. "Target that group of destroyers trying to protect their troop transports." Millions of microscopic robots swarmed toward the alien ships like a cloud of angry insects. They were too small for enemy weapons to target, and too numerous for point defense systems to stop. When they reached their targets, they began consuming the ship's hulls at the molecular level. The alien destroyers simply dissolved. Their hulls turned to metallic dust that scattered into space, leaving their crews floating in emergency suits before human rescue ships collected them as prisoners. Admiral Krelthax watched his fleet die around him and finally understood the truth. The humans had not just prepared for this invasion, they had been expecting it. They knew about the Zephyrian Empire, they knew about galactic civilization, and they had spent decades preparing to fight a war that most species could not even imagine. "Sir, we're down to 300 ships," Vextar reported. "The humans have us completely surrounded. We cannot retreat, we cannot call for help, and they are destroying us faster than we can fight back." The Admiral looked at his tactical display and saw the horrible truth. His mighty invasion fleet was being systematically eliminated by an enemy that should not have existed. The humans were not primitive. They were predators, and they had been waiting patiently for prey to come to them. The 5-minute mark passed, and the Zephyrian Empire was learning what it meant to underestimate humanity. By the 5-minute mark, the space around Earth looked like a graveyard of broken alien ships. Debris from destroyed Zephyrian vessels created a metal cloud that stretched across thousands of miles. Admiral Krelthax had lost over 200 ships, while the humans had not lost a single vessel. The Admiral stared at his tactical display in disbelief. Every few seconds, another red symbol disappeared from the screen as another of his ships was destroyed. The humans were not just winning, they were dominating completely. "Sir, we need to consider surrender," Sub-Commander Vextar said quietly. "We cannot win this battle. The humans are too well prepared." "The Zephyrian Empire does not surrender to primitives," Krelthax snarled, but his voice lacked conviction. Around him, his bridge crew worked frantically to coordinate a defense that was clearly failing. Sergeant First Class Tony Rivera had reached the bridge level of the alien flagship. His team had fought through 6 decks of enemy soldiers, leaving a trail of unconscious or dead aliens behind them. The element of surprise was gone, but human tactics were proving superior to alien training. "Movement ahead," reported Corporal Andy Bailey. "Looks like they've set up a defensive position at the bridge entrance." Tony studied the layout through his enhanced vision system. 12 alien soldiers were positioned behind energy barriers, armed with powerful weapons. A direct assault would be costly. "Jamie, set up the holoprojectors," he ordered Corporal Jamie Wilson. "Let's give them something to shoot at while we come in from the side." The holographic projectors created perfect images of human soldiers advancing down the main corridor. The aliens opened fire immediately, pouring energy blasts into targets that were not really there. While they were distracted, Tony's team used cutting tools to burn through the wall and attack from an unexpected angle. The battle for the bridge lasted 30 seconds. When it was over, all 12 alien defenders were unconscious, and Tony's team was in control of the most important ship in the enemy fleet. Captain Sarah Williams had become a legend in the 5 minutes since the battle began. Flying her experimental fighter Raptor, she had personally destroyed 15 alien ships and damaged dozens more. Her voice came over the radio with excitement. "This is Raptor to all units," she announced. "I've found their ammunition supply convoy. 12 big ships loaded with explosives. Anyone want to help me turn them into fireworks?" Lieutenant Colonel Maya Rodriguez responded from Luna Base. "Raptor, this is Luna Command. We can provide fire support. Give us target coordinates." Sarah's fighter danced around the enemy supply ships, painting them with laser designators while avoiding the defensive fire from their escort vessels. The ships were huge, slow, and packed with enough explosives to level a city. "Targets painted," Sarah reported. "Luna Base, you are cleared to fire." 20 tungsten rods streaked through space from the lunar weapon platforms. They struck the alien supply ships with devastating effect. The explosions that followed could be seen from Earth's surface as a series of brilliant flashes that lit up the night sky. Major Chris Bailey was having remarkable success with his experimental weapons. The nanobots had already consumed 4 alien destroyers, turning them into clouds of metallic dust. Now he was testing something even more terrifying. "Deploy the gravity bombs," he ordered his weapons officer, Lieutenant Kate Anderson. "Target that formation of heavy cruisers." The gravity bombs were weapons that should not have been possible. They created localized gravitational fields so powerful that they could crush a spaceship like an empty can. The technology was based on principles discovered in the crashed alien scout ship, but improved by human physicists who thought differently about the laws of physics. 3 alien heavy cruisers simply collapsed. Their hulls crumpled inward as artificial gravity fields compressed them into balls of twisted metal. The crews inside were killed instantly, never knowing what had destroyed their ships. Admiral Krelthax received the report about his bridge being captured with shock and fear. Human soldiers were aboard his flagship, and there was nothing he could do to stop them. "Sir, the humans are demanding your surrender," reported his communications officer. "They say they will accept nothing less than your personal capitulation." "Never," Krelthax replied, but his voice shook with fear. "The Empire does not bow to primitives." His defiance was interrupted when the bridge doors exploded inward. Tony Rivera stepped through the smoke, followed by his team of human soldiers. Their weapons were pointed directly at the alien command staff. "Admiral Krelthax," Tony said calmly, "by the authority of the United Earth Defense Command, you are under arrest for attempted genocide and invasion of sovereign territory." The Admiral reached for his sidearm, but Tony was faster. A stunner blast dropped the alien leader to the deck, unconscious but alive. The psychological effect on the remaining Zephyrian forces was immediate and devastating. "Attention all Zephyrian ships," Tony broadcast over their communication system. "Your admiral has been captured. Your fleet is destroyed. Surrender now, or join your dead comrades in space." Dr. Elena Martinez watched the battle statistics scroll across her screens. The numbers told an incredible story of complete human victory. 230 alien ships destroyed, 68 captured or disabled, and the rest scattered and demoralized. "All stations, this is command," she announced. "Begin Phase 3 operations. Secure all alien technology and personnel. We have much to learn from our visitors." Around the solar system, human ships began the process of capturing damaged alien vessels and rescuing survivors. Every piece of alien technology would be studied, every alien soldier questioned. The invasion fleet had brought humanity a treasure trove of advanced knowledge. Colonel Steve Parker led his Mars squadron in hunting down the remaining alien ships. The Zephyrians were no longer fighting as a coordinated force. Individual ships fled in different directions, only to be cornered by human vessels that were faster and better armed. "This is Parker to all units," he broadcast. "Remember, we want prisoners and salvage. Disable their ships if possible. Dead aliens can't answer questions." Captain Lisa Ward's stealth corvettes had become visible as they herded fleeing alien ships toward capture zones. Her vessels moved like shepherds, using precise weapons fire to disable engines and weapons while leaving life support intact. "Alien vessel, this is Captain Ward of the Earth Defense Force," she transmitted to a damaged Zephyrian cruiser. "Your engines are disabled and your weapons are destroyed. Prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will result in the destruction of your ship." The alien captain responded with a voice full of defeat. "We surrender. Please do not kill our crew." General Pete Sullivan surveyed the battlefield from his command center and allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. 20 years of preparation had resulted in the most one-sided military victory in human history. The aliens who had come to conquer Earth were now prisoners or space debris. "Casualty report," he requested from his staff. "Sir, we have 0 human deaths, 12 minor injuries, and minimal damage to our ships," reported Colonel Janet Foster. "Enemy losses are catastrophic. We estimate over 50,000 alien casualties." Pete nodded grimly. The numbers were terrible, but the aliens had chosen this fight. They had come to enslave or destroy humanity, and instead had learned that humans were not the primitives they appeared to be. Lieutenant Emma Davis had finished her mission of destroying the alien supply convoy and was now leading her fighter squadron in search of survivors. Human rescue ships were already at work, pulling alien crews from disabled vessels and treating their injuries. "This is Davis to Rescue Coordination," she reported. "I have 12 alien escape pods in Sector 4. They appear to be intact, but their life support is failing." "Roger, Davis. Rescue ship Charlie 7 is en route." Good eye, the battle was essentially over. A few alien ships continued to flee toward the edge of the solar system, but they would be captured long before they could escape the gravity wells that prevented faster-than-light travel. The mighty Zephyrian invasion fleet had been completely destroyed in less than 6 minutes of actual combat. Admiral Krelthax regained consciousness in a human detention cell. Through the transparent wall, he could see other captured alien officers. The sight filled him with shame and despair. His career was over, his fleet was destroyed, and his empire would soon learn that humanity was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The 6-minute war was ending, and it would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. With his flagship captured and his fleet destroyed, Admiral Krelthax had only one card left to play. From his detention cell, he could hear his crew members being interrogated by human intelligence officers. The questions they asked showed that humans knew far more about galactic civilization than they should have. Subcommander Vextar was now the senior Zephyrian officer still free, commanding what remained of the invasion fleet from a badly damaged heavy cruiser. Less than 50 ships remained operational out of the original 500, and most of those were running low on ammunition and power. "Sir, we cannot win this battle," his tactical officer reported. "The humans have us completely outgunned and surrounded. Should we attempt to negotiate surrender?" Vextar stared at the tactical display showing the wreckage of his once mighty fleet. The humans had destroyed them so quickly and efficiently that it seemed impossible. But the Zephyrian Empire had protocols for situations like this, and honor demanded that he follow them. "Activate the Scorched Earth Protocol," he ordered quietly. "If we cannot conquer this world, we will ensure it cannot threaten the Empire." The Scorched Earth Protocol was the Zephyrian Empire's final solution for stubborn resistance. If a world could not be conquered, it would be destroyed completely. Better a dead planet than a successful rebellion that might inspire others. The remaining alien ships began to power up their most dangerous weapons: planet-killer cannons that could burn away Earth's atmosphere, gravity bombs that could shatter continents, biological weapons that would poison the air, and water for centuries. But the humans had been listening to every alien. Communication since the battle began. Dr. Elena Martinez received the intercepted transmissions in her command center and immediately understood what the aliens were planning. All units, priority alert. She broadcast across the quantum communication network. Enemy forces are preparing planetary destruction weapons. This is not a drill. Implement extinction protocol countermeasures immediately. Captain Mike Turner was monitoring deep space from his hidden observation post in the asteroid belt. His sensors detected the massive energy buildups on the remaining alien ships as they prepared their final attack. "This is Deep Space Monitor to all commands," he reported. "Confirmed planet killer charging signatures on 12 enemy vessels. Estimated time to full charge, 4 minutes. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Every human military asset in the solar system turned toward the remaining alien ships. This was no longer about victory in battle. This was about preventing genocide. Luna Base Commander Maya Rodriguez redirected all her remaining tungsten rod platforms toward the alien planet killers. All platforms, maximum rate of fire. Those ships do not get to complete their charging sequence. But the aliens had learned from their mistakes. The remaining ships had formed a tight defensive formation, using their overlapping shields to protect the planet killer weapons while they charged. Point defense systems shot down incoming missiles and railgun projectiles. Captain Sarah Williams pushed her experimental fighter to its limits, trying to break through the alien defensive screen. "Raptor to all fighters," she called over the radio. "We need to get inside their formation. Those planet killers cannot be allowed to fire." Her fighter moved faster than should have been possible, pushing technology that was still experimental to its breaking point. The engine indicators showed red warnings as she accelerated beyond safe limits, but Sarah ignored them. Earth survival was more important than one fighter pilot's safety. Major Chris Bailey had an idea that was either brilliant or insane. His ships carried experimental weapons that had never been tested in real combat. If ever there was a time to take risks, this was it. "All ships prepare for close-range assault," he ordered his squadron. "We're going to ram right through their defensive line and take out those planet killers at point-blank range." "Sir, that's suicide," protested his second-in-command, Captain Jenny Roberts. "Their defensive fire will tear us apart." "Maybe," Chris replied grimly. "But if those weapons fire, everyone on Earth dies anyway. I'd rather go down fighting." Admiral Krelthax watched from his cell as human guards ran past his door. Even as a prisoner, he could hear the urgency in their voices. The Scorched Earth Protocol was the Empire's final revenge against enemies who dared to resist. But he had underestimated human determination one more time. Tony Rivera appeared at his cell door with several guards and a portable communication device. "Admiral, you're going to help us stop your ships from destroying Earth," Tony announced. "Never," Krelthax replied. "I will not betray the Empire." Tony activated the communication device, showing the Admiral a live feed from the battle. Human ships were throwing themselves against the alien defensive line in desperate attacks, taking heavy casualties as they tried to stop the planet killers. "Those are good people dying out there," Tony said quietly. "They're dying to protect their families, their world, their future. You can stop this. One transmission from you ordering your ships to stand down." The Admiral watched human fighters explode against alien shields. He saw young pilots sacrifice themselves in futile attempts to break through the defensive screen. These humans were fighting with the courage of heroes, knowing they would probably die but refusing to give up. For the first time since the invasion began, Krelthax felt something he had never experienced before: respect for his enemies. Colonel Steve Parker led his Mars squadron in a desperate charge against the alien formation. His ships were fast and well-armed, but the enemy had concentrated their remaining firepower into an impenetrable wall of energy weapons. "All ships attack pattern Omega," he ordered. "Full speed, maximum firepower. We break through or we die trying." The human ships accelerated toward the alien line like missiles. Energy beams reached out to swat them from space, and several fighters exploded in brilliant flashes. But the survivors kept coming, their weapons firing continuously as they closed the distance. Captain Lisa Ward's stealth corvettes tried a different approach. Using their cloaking technology, they attempted to slip around the alien formation and attack the planet killers from behind. But the aliens had improved their sensors since the battle began, and the human ships were detected before they could reach their targets. Stealth compromised, Lisa reported as enemy fire began tracking her ships. They've adapted to our cloaking technology. Reverting to direct assault, Dr. Elena Martinez watched the tactical display with growing despair. Human casualties were mounting as ship after ship was destroyed trying to break through the alien defensive line. The planet killers were at 80% charge and would be ready to fire within 2 minutes. All stations, this is command, she broadcast. If we cannot stop those weapons, implement Evacuation Protocol 7. Begin emergency evacuation of all major population centers. But everyone knew that evacuation would be meaningless. The alien weapons were designed to destroy entire planets. There would be nowhere to run if they fired. Lieutenant Emma Davis made a decision that would either save Earth or add her name to the list of the dead. Her fighter was damaged and low on ammunition, but she had one weapon left that might work. "Control, this is Davis," she transmitted. "I'm going to ram the lead planet killer. Maybe I can damage it enough to prevent firing." "Negative, Davis," came the immediate reply. "You will not survive impact." "I know," Emma said calmly. "Tell my family I love them." She pushed her fighter to maximum speed and aimed directly at the alien weapon. Energy beams reached out to stop her, but she jinked and rolled, using every bit of her pilot training to avoid destruction. At the last second, Admiral Krelthax made his choice. He activated the communication device in his cell and transmitted on the emergency command frequency. "All Zephyrian vessels, this is Admiral Krelthax. Stand down all weapons. Cease fire immediately. That is a direct order." The transmission reached the alien ships just as Emma's fighter was about to impact the lead planet killer. The alien gunners, trained to obey their admiral without question, immediately stopped firing. Emma pulled her fighter away at the last possible moment, missing the alien ship by mere meters. Sub-Commander Vextar stared at his communication panel in shock. His admiral was ordering him to stop the attack, to abandon the Empire's final chance for revenge. But orders were orders, and discipline was the foundation of Zephyrian society. "All ships stand down weapons," he ordered reluctantly. "Power down the planet killers." Admiral's orders. The immediate threat was over, but the implications were just beginning. The Zephyrian Empire's most powerful invasion fleet had been completely defeated by humans who were supposed to be primitive. The balance of power in the galaxy was about to shift dramatically. The 6th minute of the battle arrived with the sound of silence. For the first time since the fighting began, no weapons were firing. The remaining 12 Zephyrian ships hung motionless in space, their planet-killer weapons powered down on direct orders from their captured admiral. Sub-Commander Vextar sat on the bridge of his damaged cruiser, staring at the tactical display that showed the complete destruction of his fleet. 500 ships had been reduced to 12 in less than 6 minutes. The humans had achieved the impossible, a perfect military victory against a technologically superior enemy. "Sir, the humans are demanding our surrender," reported his communications officer, his voice filled with defeat. "They want all ships to power down weapons and engines, prepare for boarding parties." Vextar looked around his bridge at the crew members who had served with honor and courage. They were soldiers of the Zephyrian Empire, trained never to surrender. But continuing to fight would only result in more pointless deaths. "All ships, this is Sub-Commander Vextar," he announced over the fleet communication system. "Power down all weapons and engines. Prepare for human boarding parties. We will surrender with honor." The response from his remaining ship captains was immediate but reluctant. One by one, the alien vessels went dark as their crews shut down their military systems. The invasion fleet that had arrived to conquer Earth was now completely at the mercy of the humans they had underestimated. Colonel Andy Foster led the first boarding party onto Vextar's cruiser. His team moved through the alien ship with weapons ready but found no resistance. Zephyrian soldiers stood at attention as the humans passed, their weapons laid down in formal surrender. "Sub-Commander Vextar," Andy announced when he reached the bridge, "by the authority of the United Earth Defense Command, you and your crew are now prisoners of war. You will be treated according to the Galactic Conventions on Warfare, assuming such conventions exist." Vextar straightened his shoulders and replied with dignity, I surrender my ship and my crew to human authority. I request that my soldiers be treated with honor. Granted, Andy replied. Your crew showed courage in battle. They will be treated well. Dr. Elena Martinez was coordinating the massive operation to secure alien technology and personnel. Every captured ship was a treasure trove of advanced knowledge that could advance human civilization by centuries. But the most valuable prize was the information contained in the aliens' computer systems. Intelligence teams to all captured vessels, she ordered. Priority 1 is their navigation data. We need to know the locations of every alien empire in the galaxy. Priority 2 is technical manuals. Priority 3 is communication codes. Captain Mike Turner was leading the technical analysis of the alien flagship. The massive vessel contained technology that human scientists had only dreamed about. Faster than light engines, energy shields, artificial gravity, and weapons that could destroy planets. This is incredible, reported Dr. Helen Rodriguez, the chief technology analyst. Their computer core contains detailed information about dozens of alien civilizations. Star maps, diplomatic communications, military assessments. It's like finding an encyclopedia of galactic politics. President Lisa Carter addressed the nation and the world from the White House Situation Room. The battle had been visible from Earth's surface as brief flashes of light in the night sky, but most civilians had no idea what had just happened above their heads. My fellow Americans and citizens of Earth, she began. 6 minutes ago, our world was invaded by a hostile alien empire. 6 minutes ago, our military forces achieved complete victory against an enemy that possessed technology far in advance of our own. Today, humanity has announced its presence to the galaxy. The revelation that aliens existed, that they had tried to invade Earth, and that humanity had defeated them sent shockwaves around the world. But there was also pride. Earth had faced its first test as a spacefaring civilization and had passed with flying colors. General Pete Sullivan was already planning humanity's next moves. The captured alien technology would be studied and integrated into human military systems. The intelligence data would reveal which alien empires were threats and which might be potential allies. We need to move fast, he told his staff. Word of this defeat will spread through the galaxy quickly. Other alien empires will want to test us, or they'll try to destroy us before we become too powerful. We have maybe 6 months before the next invasion arrives. Admiral Kate Brooks was organizing the human fleet for its new role as protector of Earth and its solar system. The ships that had been hidden for 20 years were now revealed as humanity's sword and shield against galactic threats. All ship commanders, report to fleet headquarters for briefing, she ordered. We're no longer hiding. It's time to take our place as a major power in galactic politics. Captain Sarah Williams landed her damaged fighter on Luna Base, where ground crews immediately began examining the experimental technology that had performed so well in combat. Her fighter had been pushed beyond its design limits, but it had survived the battle and contributed to humanity's victory. How did it feel to make history? Asked the chief mechanic, Sergeant Billy Moore, as Sarah climbed out of her cockpit. Terrifying and amazing, Sarah replied with a tired smile, but mostly satisfying. We showed those alien bullies that humans don't back down from a fight. In his detention cell, Admiral Krelthax was being interrogated by human intelligence officers who knew more about his empire than he had expected. They asked detailed questions about Zephyrian military capabilities, political structure, and relationships with other alien species. How long have you known about us? He finally asked his interrogator, Colonel Janet Foster. 20 years, Janet replied honestly. Ever since one of your scout ships crashed in our Arctic region. We've been preparing for this day ever since. The Admiral's eyes widened with understanding. The probe we lost over your northern ice cap. You found it. You learned from it. We learned everything, Janet confirmed. Your technology, your language, your military tactics, and most importantly, your weaknesses. This invasion was doomed before it began. Major Chris Bailey was leading salvage operations on the alien ships that had been destroyed in the battle. Even the wreckage was valuable, containing alien materials and technology that human scientists could study. But more importantly, the debris field would serve as a warning to other potential invaders. Leave some of the wreckage in orbit, suggested Dr. Paul Anderson, the chief science advisor. Let other alien species see what happens when they threaten. Earth, a little psychological warfare never hurt. Lieutenant Emma Davis was being treated as a hero for her near-suicidal attack on the alien planet killer weapon. Her willingness to sacrifice herself to save Earth had inspired the entire human fleet and probably prevented global destruction. "You saved the world," Tony Rivera told her as she received medical treatment for minor injuries. "That takes guts." "I just did my job," Emma replied modestly. Any pilot in the fleet would have done the same thing. But everyone knew that was not true. Emma had shown the kind of courage that legends are made of, and her name would be remembered for generations. Dr. Elena Martinez was coordinating with teams of scientists who were beginning the massive project of integrating alien technology into human civilization. The captured knowledge would advance human science by centuries, giving Earth the tools it needed to become a major galactic power. "Priority list," she announced to her research teams. "Medical technology first. We can save lives immediately. Then energy and propulsion systems. Finally, weapons and defense technology. We need to be ready for the next threat." As the 7th minute since the battle began passed, humanity was already planning for the future. The alien invasion had failed completely. But it had also revealed that Earth was part of a larger galactic community filled with both threats and opportunities. The Zephyrian Empire had sent its best fleet to conquer what they thought was a primitive world. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy forever. At exactly 14:29 Greenwich Mean Time, 6 minutes and 43 seconds after the battle began, the last Zephyrian ship powered down its weapons and surrendered to human forces. What Admiral Krelthax had predicted would be a 6-hour conquest of primitive Earth had instead become the most devastating military defeat in Zephyrian history. The alien admiral sat in his detention cell, staring at a datapad that showed the final battle statistics. 500 ships had been reduced to 12 survivors. Over 50,000 Zephyrian soldiers were dead, wounded, or captured. The humans had not lost a single ship, and their casualties numbered fewer than 30 injured personnel. "How is this possible?" he whispered to himself, still unable to believe what had happened to his mighty fleet. Tony Rivera entered the cell, carrying a chair and a steaming cup of coffee. He sat down across from the admiral and placed the datapad on the table between them. "You want to know how we did it?" Tony asked calmly. 20 years ago, one of your scout ships crashed on our world. The pilot was already dead, but the ship's computer was intact. We learned everything about your empire, your technology, and your military doctrine." Krelthax looked up sharply. "The missing probe from Sector 779. We assumed it was destroyed by a solar flare. Nope, it crashed in our Arctic ice. Took us 6 months to dig it out and another year to crack the computer encryption. After that, we spent 18 years preparing for this exact scenario." The admiral's shoulders slumped as he realized the magnitude of his empire's mistake. "You have been planning this battle for 2 decades. Planning, building, training, and waiting," Tony confirmed. "We knew someone would come eventually. Your probe's computer contained target lists for dozens of worlds marked for conquest. Earth was number 37 on the list." President Lisa Carter stood before a joint session of Congress, preparing to reveal the truth to the American people and the world. Behind her, a massive screen showed images of the captured alien fleet and the technology that would revolutionize human civilization. "Fellow Americans, citizens of Earth," she began. "Today our world has joined the galactic community, not as subjects or slaves, but as equals who have proven our right to exist among the stars. The revelation that aliens existed, that they had invaded Earth, and that humanity had achieved total victory sent shockwaves around the globe. But there was also tremendous pride. Earth had faced its first galactic test and had passed with flying colors. Dr. Elena Martinez was in her command center, coordinating the massive intelligence operation that was downloading and analyzing captured alien data. The information contained in the Zephyrian computers was worth more than any treasure in human history. "Report," she requested from her intelligence teams. "Ma'am, we've identified 73 alien civilizations in this sector of the galaxy," reported Dr. Helen Rodriguez. 31 are classified as aggressive expansionist empires. 42 appear to be peaceful or defensive in nature. And Earth's status among these civilizations? According to Zephyrian intelligence files, Earth was classified as a primitive world suitable for easy conquest. Population, expendable. Technology level, irrelevant. Threat assessment, 0. Elena smiled grimly. "I think we can update that threat assessment." General Pete Sullivan was meeting with his senior staff, planning humanity's new role in galactic politics. The captured alien technology would need to be integrated into human military systems, and Earth would need to prepare for future threats. The Zephyrian Empire was just one of many aggressive species out there, he told his officers. This victory will either deter future attacks or provoke them. We need to be ready for both possibilities. Admiral Kate Brooks was reorganizing the human fleet for its new mission as protector of Earth and eventually liberator of oppressed worlds. The ships that had been hidden for 20 years were now revealed as humanity's contribution to galactic peace. All ship commanders. New mission parameters, she announced over the fleet communication system. We are no longer a secret defensive force. We are now Earth's diplomatic and military representatives to the galaxy. Captain Mike Turner was examining the most important discovery from the alien flagship, a complete galactic navigation database. The information revealed the locations of every major civilization, trade route, and strategic resource in known space. This changes everything, he reported to command. We now have detailed maps of the entire galaxy. We know where the friendly civilizations are, where the threats are, and where Earth fits into the bigger picture. But the most shocking discovery was yet to come. Deep in the Zephyrian computer files, human intelligence analysts found evidence of something that changed their understanding of galactic politics completely. General Sullivan, "You need to see this," called Dr. Paul Anderson, the chief science advisor. "We found evidence that there are other worlds like Earth, planets that have been secretly contacted by different alien species and have been preparing for galactic contact." The files revealed a hidden network of civilizations that had refused to accept the galactic status quo, worlds that had been contacted by crashed ships, diplomatic missions, or refugee populations and had spent decades preparing to resist alien conquest. "How many worlds are we talking about?" Sullivan asked. "At least 12 that we can confirm, possibly as many as 20. They call themselves the Free Worlds Alliance, and they've been waiting for a catalyst to begin their resistance movement." Admiral Krelthax was brought to a larger conference room, where he faced a panel of human officials. President Carter, General Sullivan, and Dr. Martinez sat across from him, with the weight of history on their shoulders. "Admiral," President Carter began, "we want to offer you a choice. You can remain a prisoner of war until your empire negotiates your release, or you can help us contact these free worlds and work toward a more peaceful galaxy." The Admiral studied the human leaders carefully. These people had defeated his empire's finest fleet in minutes, but they were offering him a chance to redeem himself, rather than simply seeking revenge. "What would you want me to do?" he asked cautiously. "Help us contact the other oppressed civilizations," General Sullivan replied. "Your empire has been conquering worlds for centuries. You know which civilizations are suffering under alien rule, and which ones might be willing to fight for their freedom." Dr. Martinez activated a holographic display showing the galaxy. Dozens of red dots marked aggressive empires, while blue dots showed peaceful civilizations. Yellow dots indicated worlds that had been conquered but might be willing to rebel. "The galaxy doesn't have to be ruled by empires that conquer and enslave," she said. "There's another way, a way where civilizations can cooperate and defend each other against aggression." Admiral Krelthax stared at the galactic map for a long time. His entire career had been built on conquest and domination. But the humans had shown him a different path, one that led to cooperation rather than subjugation. "If I help you," he said slowly, "what happens to my crew? What happens to the Zephyrian prisoners?" "They will be treated with honor," President Carter promised. "Those who want to return to your empire will be allowed to leave. Those who want to stay and help build a better galaxy will be welcomed as allies." 3 days later, Earth sent its first diplomatic mission to the galaxy. A fleet of human ships led by captured alien vessels operated by volunteer crews departed for the coordinates of the Free Worlds Alliance. Their mission was to offer Earth support to any civilization that wanted to resist aggressive expansion by galactic empires. Captain Sarah Williams commanded one of the diplomatic ships, her experimental fighter now upgraded with the best alien technology available. "This is Earth Diplomatic Mission 1, she broadcast as the fleet prepared to jump to hyperspace. "We carry a message of freedom and cooperation to all who will listen." The response came back from multiple star systems simultaneously. Dozens of civilizations that had been secretly preparing for this moment activated their own hidden fleets and joined the human convoy. The Free Worlds Alliance was no longer a dream. It was becoming reality. Admiral Krelthak stood on the observation deck of the human flagship, watching as Earth's solar system disappeared into hyperspace. He was no longer a conqueror but a guide, helping humanity navigate the complex politics of galactic civilization. "Admiral," Tony Rivera joined him at the viewing port. "Any regrets about switching sides?" The alien looked at his reflection in the transparent aluminum, seeing not the proud conqueror he had been but someone entirely different. "My empire told me that conquest was the only way to survive in this galaxy," he replied quietly. "You humans have shown me there is another way. Perhaps it is time for the galaxy to learn what you taught me, that cooperation is stronger than conquest." Behind them, Earth's new fleet jumped to hyperspace, carrying humanity's message to the stars. The age of galactic empires built on conquest and slavery was ending. The age of the Free Worlds Alliance was beginning, and it had all started with 6 minutes of combat that proved humans fight differently than anyone else in the galaxy.